Have you ever stared deeply into your son's eyes and caught a stranger silently screaming behind them? God is speaking straight to your spirit right now, urging you not to scroll past this. Because behind closed doors, a truth has been quietly building, a truth your son has been carrying in painful silence for far too long. The weight pressing down on him isn't just heavy, it's tearing him apart on the inside. And you need to hear this before it's too late. Listen closely, beloved, because you didn't land here by accident. You're not just an ordinary parent muddling through the everyday chaos of family life. You've been specifically chosen, set apart, called by God for a sacred mission, to rescue your own bloodline. That restless feeling you've had, that heavy, unexplainable sadness lingering in the corners of your home, isn't in your head. It's a divine whisper from above, a warning siren telling you to brace for what's coming. God says, "This is my final call to you, the ultimate turning point for your family's future." If you scroll past this, if you ignore this undeniable pull in your chest, this revelation will slip away and never return. I've brought you here because a tearful goodbye is close at hand. And your son has been carrying this weight entirely on his own. He's been suffering quietly, trying to shield you from a storm he believed would break your heart. But heaven refuses to let him be swallowed by it. You've been chosen to stand in the gap for him, to be the earthly vessel for God's intervention, right now, in this moment. Every second you stay here matters. It's part of a puzzle heaven has been waiting for you to piece together. The spiritual battle surrounding your child is real, but the authority God has placed in your hands is far greater. Your son needs you to hear this. Don't walk away from this appointment. Before this door of revelation swings open and the painful, beautiful truth spills into the light, you need to seal God's protection over your household. Go to the comments right now and type 777 to align your spirit with heaven's frequency. Boldly declare, "I claim this release for my son." Then hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video so the angels know you're stepping into what you've been called to do. Stay right where you are, hold your breath, and listen, because what I'm about to reveal next will break the silence and shake you to your core. God says, "The painful silence you've endured from your son isn't defiance. It isn't some cold wall built to shut you out. He's locked his deepest pain away in the darkest corner of his heart because he truly believed that letting you see this storm would crush you. He's been trying, bravely but desperately, to absorb the fallout of someone else's reckless choices, convincing himself this burden was his to carry alone, hidden in the shadows. But heaven is shaking right now, declaring that his season of solitary suffering is over. The tearful goodbye that's approaching isn't what the enemy wants you to fear. It isn't a goodbye to his life. It isn't a physical departure. It is absolutely not the end of your bond. It is the complete, permanent collapse of the lies and secrecy that have held his soul hostage for years. This goodbye is the God-ordained death of his isolation, much like the brilliant writer C.S. Lewis once described in his classic work on faith. Picture yourself as a house that God is rebuilding from the inside. At first, the hammering and the noise feel like senseless destruction, but eventually you realize God isn't just patching up a modest little cottage. He's tearing down walls because he intends to build a palace and live in it himself. The painful breaking your son is going through right now is exactly that kind of holy demolition. Heaven is tearing down his walls of silence, not to leave him in ruins, but to shatter the illusion of separation and build something unshakable within him instead. God is saying, "I am pulling back the veil of secrecy today, and I have chosen you specifically to stand in the wreckage beside him. The tears your son is about to cry won't drown your strength. They'll wash away the invisible chains that have wrapped around his mind and your entire household. He believed his silence was protecting you, But heaven is stepping in to rewrite that story, turning his private prison into an undeniable victory for your family's legacy. You've been positioned, by divine design, to witness the exact moment his walls of solitude finally come down. Don't fear this breaking, because it's only through the breaking that heaven's healing light can finally reach his deepest wounds. Have you ever felt your chest suddenly grow heavy the moment your son walks into the room, even when nothing at all has been said between you? That invisible weight is the spirit realm trying to get your attention, urging you to notice the unseen battle happening around him. If you felt that pull on your heart, go to the comments right now and type, "I feel it," to acknowledge what the Holy Spirit is showing you. Because the answer to why that heaviness has been hanging over your home is about to be fully revealed. And what comes next will change everything you thought you understood. The line between your living room and the spiritual realm has never felt thinner than it does right now. You've been carrying an unspoken dread through your days, haven't you? Those sudden chills down your spine, the repeating numbers on the clock, appearing right when a wave of despair hits you, the sleepless nights where your heart races for no clear reason. None of that was coincidence, and none of it means you're losing touch with reality. Heaven has been leaving you breadcrumbs, chosen one, urgently trying to wake your spirit up to the invisible war being fought over your son's soul. I know you've wept on your bedroom floor, your throat raw from crying out to God, feeling utterly abandoned when your most desperate prayers seem to hit a ceiling and fall flat. You've asked why the rescue was taking so long, why the suffering was allowed to stretch on in such suffocating silence. But here's the truth that changes everything. There was never a single moment of delay. There was only a strategic, divine concealment. God was deliberately hiding your child in the shadows, orchestrating something enormous behind the curtain, allowing the pressure to build to the exact point needed to burn away a generational pattern that's plagued your family for decades. What felt like God's silence was actually the quiet roar of heaven rearranging your family's future. That heavy feeling you get walking past his bedroom door is simply the friction of angels setting the stage for a breakthrough. God never once ignored your tears. He was collecting every single one, using them to water the ground for this exact moment. But that season of waiting is coming to a close, and the silence choking your household is about to break wide open. The wall protecting his darkest secret is cracking under the weight of the truth, and what pours out next won't be gentle. The storm is breaking, the veil is tearing, and the real question is this: when that first exhausted tear finally falls from his eyes, will you be ready to catch it? The atmosphere in your home is about to be pierced by a sound you've both feared and prayed for all at once. The sound of a wall of silence finally shattering into a million jagged pieces. You need to understand, chosen one, when your son's heart finally can't hold the weight of his secret any longer, that release won't be quiet. It will be a divine explosion that reshapes your entire family's legacy. His tears aren't a sign of defeat or weakness. They're the loudest, most powerful prayers your household has ever sent up to heaven. Proof of a soul finally ready to be set free. Every quiet sigh he let out in the dark, every heavy step he took back to his room, every time he looked away instead of meeting your eyes, heaven was recording every single moment of that pain. The King of Kings has never been a distant bystander to your son's suffering. As Psalm 56 puts it, God keeps track of every sorrow, gathers every tear, and writes each one down. That's exactly why he hasn't looked away. because your son's breaking point is being turned right in front of you into his breakthrough. The tearful goodbye he's bracing for isn't a goodbye to you. It isn't the end of your relationship. It's a final, permanent farewell to secrecy, to loneliness, to the lie that he had to carry this alone. His tears are sacred signals to heaven that he's finally ready to set down the weight he's been dragging around for far too long. When those walls come down, the truth will pour out like a river nothing can stop. And in that flood, the very thing he feared would break you will end up being what makes you stronger than ever. The tears he tried so hard to hide are now exactly the water needed for a miracle to take root in your home, one you never thought possible. You're standing at the edge of a once-in-a-lifetime shift, where the end of his silence becomes the beginning of your family's freedom. This goodbye is a doorway, a holy passage into a new chapter heaven has already sealed with an unbreakable promise of restoration. Do you believe your son's brokenness is actually the bridge heaven is building toward a massive miracle in your life? If you have the faith to see past the pain, stop what you're doing and type "Miracle is coming" in the comments to claim this exchange over your household. Stay focused, because what heaven is offering in return for those tears is a power so great it will leave you breathless. Heaven operates on a law of exchange the world simply can't understand. Right now, the Creator is declaring that he never uncovers a hidden pain unless he's already prepared to trade it for something far greater. This moment isn't a tragedy playing out. It's a sacred hour of divine exchange, where what felt like devastating loss is about to reveal itself as a heavenly trade. Your son's tears aren't just sorrow, they're a signal to the throne room that he's finally ready to release what's been binding him. Hold on to this truth. God is saying, the season of carrying this weight alone is over. Think of what C.S. Lewis wrote about grief in his own reflections on loss. That terrifying sensation of a door slamming shut, bolted from the inside, right when you needed it open most. You may have felt your son was behind exactly that kind of door, locked away in a silence you couldn't reach. But Lewis eventually understood that God wasn't ignoring the cry. He was clearing away the wreckage of an old self to make space for something greater. That's exactly what's happening behind your son's closed door right now. God isn't tearing him down. He's clearing out the rotting foundation of fear and secrecy to build something unshakable in its place. This breaking is preparation for the glory about to be poured in. The heavy sorrow he's carried like a hidden sack of stones is being traded right now for holy courage. What he feared would break you is the very thing heaven will use to make you stronger. The silence you once hated wasn't emptiness, it was the sound of heaven quietly arranging a restoration behind the veil. You're about to see him not as a broken child, but as a man becoming whole, stepping out of the shadows into a light bright enough to reshape your entire family's story. The goodbye he's whispering to his pain is really the loudest hello to his true purpose. But have you stopped to wonder, in the middle of all this, why the King of Kings chose you specifically to stand at the center of this? There's a secret hidden in your own scars that connects directly to his freedom, and you're about to find out exactly what that is. Look closely at the scars you've carried quietly for decades. They aren't marks of shame. They're the divine credentials qualifying you for the rescue mission you're now leading. You've wondered why you had to walk through those seasons of unexplained heaviness, why your spirit felt restless, why your chest tightened every time you looked into your son's eyes. Heaven wasn't punishing you, it was training you. Your own history of survival, those lonely nights walking through the valley, was the hidden classroom where God was teaching you how to become the anchor for your son's breaking point. God is declaring that your son's silence was never neglect. It was a sacred, if misguided, attempt to protect you from a storm he believed would crush you. What he didn't realize was that you were already battle-tested and ready for this exact moment. Every quiet dinner, every heavy sigh you noticed was training you to read the signs, preparing you for the day his walls would finally come down under the weight of truth. Your own story is the survival manual your son needs to navigate the storm breaking inside him. You're not a bystander in this. You're the architect of his restoration. Heaven has declared that the burden he once carried in the shadows will finally be shared in love. And in that sharing, a new strength will rise that will define your family's legacy for generations. You weren't chosen to be his parent only for the easy seasons. You were chosen specifically for this appointed hour of revelation. The very thing your son believed would shatter you is exactly what will ignite your shared miracle. His tears won't drown your strength because you've already learned to breathe through your own storms. You're the pillar he'll lean on the moment he finally lets go of the lie that he had to fight this alone. And the bond you two share is putting down roots so deep that nothing will ever be able to tear it apart again. You've sensed something for a long time, haven't you? That invisible pull in your chest, that heaviness that shows up even when nothing's been said. None of that was accidental. It was heaven preparing you for exactly this moment. You are the one marked to witness his breaking point become his breakthrough. That breakthrough is moving toward you even now, and when his heart finally speaks, that will be your miracle. The story is about to flip right in front of you. Where there was once silence, there will be confession. Are you ready to see your son not as someone silently carrying secret burdens, but as someone finally releasing pain into healing? If you feel that strength rising in your spirit right now, stop and type "I am the anchor" in the comments to claim your spiritual authority over your home. Stay with me, because what happens next changes everything. The walls of isolation built around your son's soul aren't just cracking, they're being systematically dismantled. Heaven has declared that his season of walking this path alone is officially over. It was never God's plan for him to fight this battle in a vacuum of loneliness. This coming, tearful goodbye is the instrument God is using to shatter secrecy and bring about a collision of two hearts that will change the course of your future. What he carried alone through so many heavy nights will finally be carried together, and in that shared weight, a new strength will rise that your family has never experienced before. This goodbye isn't a sign of distance. It's a bridge that will connect you more deeply than ever before. Are you ready to witness the full restoration of your home and watch the spirit of loneliness leave your doorstep for good? If you feel that shift happening right now, take a deep breath and type "God is restoring my family" in the comments to seal this. Hold steady, because heaven's timing is about to collide with your present reality. This isn't random, it's a divine, precisely timed appointment that no power of darkness can shift, alter, or delay. God says the hour of your visitation has struck, and you're standing at the edge of a revelation written into eternity long before you ever noticed the silence in your son's eyes. Understand that your position as this family's anchor isn't an accident of biology. It's a strategic placement for the restoration of your entire lineage. Heaven has been orchestrating this like a symphony. weaving every hidden sigh and unspoken fear into a melody of deliverance. As scripture puts it in the book of Esther, if you stay silent now, relief will simply rise from elsewhere. And who knows if you were placed exactly here for a moment just like this one. You were brought to this position of spiritual authority for such a time as this, to be the one who stands firm when the walls of secrecy finally come down. As C.S. Lewis once wrote, there are truly no ordinary people. And right now, you're dealing with a soul whose eternal destiny is being weighed in the balances of heaven. This coming tearful goodbye is the manifestation of that timing. A holy appointment heaven has been preparing while you were still trying to name the heaviness in the air. This moment is urgent because the shift is happening now. It's the climax of the story where heaven turns mourning into a dance of absolute freedom. You were built and battle-tested for this exact hour, and the King of Glory has marked this day for your family's breakthrough. The darkness is retreating because the light of truth is moving toward you with unstoppable speed. But as the clouds of secrecy begin to part, what's actually waiting on the other side of those tears? The final transformation is emerging from the wreckage, and the beauty of this new beginning will be greater than anything you could have imagined. The storm has finally broken, and a new dawn is rising over your household. As the echoes of your son's tearful goodbye settle into a peace beyond understanding, this becomes the long-awaited moment where goodbye to secrecy becomes hello to complete transparency. The walls that once stood cold and impenetrable between his soul and yours haven't just cracked, they've been completely broken down by the truth finally rising to the surface. Look closely at him now. He's no longer that shadowed figure carrying a secret weight in the dark. He's a vessel of light, washed clean by the very tears he was once terrified to shed. In a single miraculous breath, the burden that felt unbearable for a lifetime has been lifted and carried away. The atmosphere in your home is shifting right now, from the suffocating weight of sorrow to the freedom of healing. Because heaven never reveals a wound without immediately pouring in restoration.